In today's video, I want to take a little bit longer term look at what's going on in the gold market. Um, First off, let me point out the last two 8-year cycle lows. We had one here in 2009, and then the last one came here at the very tail end of 2015. We could just round this off and say the beginning of 2016. 8 years from that point would put us out to 2024. That's when the next major cyclical bottom should occur. Um, you can see here we've been in this long basing phase for about 6 years. The decline in the summer of 2018 did manage to hold above that 200-week moving average. Got another test here, and now we're starting to move higher and getting some separation, and the moving average is turning up. Pretty dependable sign, in my opinion anyway, that we have begun another secular bull market. I think that bull market began right here, and then we got stuck in a long basing phase after the elections, which were very beneficial for stocks. A lot of liquidity focused in the stock market, and gold was kind of left for dead, and resulted in this long basing phase. But we've broken out of the basing phase now, and I think this was the baby bull, and then we've got a base, and I think we're now transitioning into a new phase of the bull market. And I don't know that this phase is going to be exceptionally aggressive, not yet, probably not during this 8-year cycle. Realistically, all I'm expecting at this point is for gold to test these all-time highs by the time this 8-year cycle tops. And remember, the bottom is going to be due maybe sometime around 2024, and there has to be a period of time to allow for price to move into that bottom. So realistically, I would say our 8-year cycle top is probably going to be due 2022 or maybe 2023 at the latest. We've got a major resistance zone here at 1800 that we're going to have to get through before we can test these all-time highs. So what I think is happening is we're going to form a very long extended cup and handle pattern. We're in the advancing part of the right side of the cup. These tend to be a little difficult. Lots of volatility back and forth. You can see here this was a very extended correction back here. Threw a lot of people off the bull market. They missed this rally. Same thing happened here. A very extended sideways correction. Wasn't necessarily a very deep correction, but it was very frustrating in that it encompassed 3 months, and it just wore everybody out to where people gave up. And then they missed the first leg up of this rally, and we're in another corrective phase right now as gold works its way down into its first daily cycle low. Still remains to be seen whether that unfolds as a sharp corrective move down, or whether it also turns out to be a sideways frustrating correction. But either way, I think probably the best we can hope for during this intermediate cycle would be a test of this $1,800 zone. It may not get that high. We may only make it to 1,700. But there's going to be significant resistance here, and I think I would suspect it's probably going to take at least a year to break through this $1,800 resistance and then get a test of this 1,900, this all-time high, before this 8-year cycle tops. So while I do think that this intermediate cycle could be, once we get through this next correction, could be fairly aggressive and take us gold to 1,700, maybe even 1,800. After that, I think it's going to be very difficult for the next year or two as we move into the 8-year cycle top, and then we'll get I would think at least a year-long corrective phase that would form the handle part of this cup and handle pattern. And then I want to end showing you some volume studies. These big spikes in volume can often be an indication that smart money has entered into a sector that has begun a secular bull market. I think this is a very positive sign for the mining stocks going forward. Once we break out above this resistance on a sustained basis, and that will, I think, will happen during the next daily cycle once we complete this corrective phase, which should be over fairly quickly within 1 or 2 weeks. Once we break through this resistance, then I have a feeling, I feel pretty positive that the miners are going to at least retest this resistance zone right in here around $40. So now let me move over and show you an example of what I was talking about. All right, this is a chart of XLE, the oil stocks, and you can see this volume explosion as the secular bull market got underway. And this is what we're seeing in the mining stocks too, as they put in their bottom. So I think all the signs point to the metals have entered a new secular bull market. I think we're forming a cup and handle basing pattern. We could have an aggressive move up to 1800 early this year. After that, I think things are going to get more difficult, and then we will have a extended corrective period, probably into sometime into 2024, when the next 8-year cycle low is going to be due. After that, then I think we get our bubble phase in gold.